Good morning, friends. Today's topic for discussion is very interesting. It is on self employment, where you are working for yourself, you are your own boss, and you are making efforts to employ yourself and find sources of income yourself. So, let us talk about self employment today. So, by the end of this discussion today, you will be able to understand what exactly is self employment, and you'll also be able to understand what are the different options available when we talk about self employment. And since we are talking about the options available, we'll also be discussing the different challenges that one faces or can face in this situation of self employment. So, in case you are thinking in terms of being your own boss and working for yourself, this is just the right discussion for you. And self employment or this opportunity provides option to many workers, many individuals in different career fields and industries to utilize their skills, their talent, and to again either utilize their own skills or their talents, or of course to take to businesses or different tasks that they can perform. So let us move forward and see what are the different options available when we talk about self-employment. So number one is freelance. Number two is you can start your own business, and number three is gig employment. We'll study about all of these three in detail. So please remember, freelance, you can start your own business, or gig employment. So firstly, we'll start with gig employment, and the US Department of Labor defines a gig employment as an opportunity where you take up a job or an assignment. It's a specified assignment where you are hired as a worker, and your responsibility, your task runs through the completion of that assignment or that project. So it is more like a work on a demand, and such opportunities are usually picked up from the digital marketplace, that is the internet. And so you are working for a specified period of time for a specified project, and this becomes gig employment, because that employment runs for the period that for which you are employed, or for the exact period that the project runs through. So this is number one that we had talked about under the different options which are available when you talk about self-employment. Next, of course, is freelance. You can even go freelance. So freelance simply means that you are utilizing a unique skill that you might have. A skill can be of writing, a skill can be of web designing, you can could be a good photographer, you could be a chef. So different talents that you might possess. So you utilize that unique skill or your talent, and you work on a pay for service basis, and you are outside that scope of being employed by a regular institution or employer. So you are not in that regular employer employee relationship. So this is what freelancing is all about, and different talents or skills under which you can operate are mentioned. Some of them are mentioned here. You could be a web designer, you could be a writer, you could be a expert repairman and specializing in jewelry, furniture, vehicles, so on and so forth. You could be good in landscaping. Accounting could be your forte. Photography, as I mentioned, photography photographers might be hired by newspapers or magazines, where you are providing your photographs on a regular basis, or whatever be your arrangement with different agencies that you might be working with. And of course, you can be a personal trainer, or you can even be a fitness coach. So in freelancing, you are utilizing your skills and talent to provide your services on a payment basis. That is what freelancing is. Number three was you could start your own business. So I'm here. We are not talking about starting a business as a freelancer, because many freelancers also are into business where they even hire other assistants to help them in their processes. But starting your own business here means where you are setting up space to do your regular work as an entrepreneur, and you could run a business for manufacturing purpose or for selling a product, or you could even be providing any kind of service. You could be running a restaurant or anything, so on and so forth. So starting your own business is very different from doing business as a freelancer, because that scope will always fall in the category of you being a freelancer. So starting your own business has a total different connotation, and it also falls under the self-employment uh, scheme that you might opt for. So different options are available for you in case you are thinking in terms of going solo and utilizing your talent or your managerial skills in pushing forth your career. So these are the three options available to you, and your gateways to self-employment. Let us move forward and see what are the benefits of self-employment. So as I mentioned earlier, you are your own boss, and that is the number one factor in self-employment. You get to make your own decisions, and anybody that you provide employment to works under you. So that is one gratification that you possess. So plus another major factor of self-employment becomes that you take up work, you take up employment in sectors, in areas where you are inclined, where your nature is inclined, where your talents lie, where your skills lie, where you feel that you can contribute more. So that is another advantage of self-employment, because you are focusing your strength, you're focusing your mind, your resources in areas which really interest you. So you could be setting up a studio and hiring other artists to come over and record their talent. So you are working here as a entrepreneur who has provided for a space for recording of audio or visual activities. So there are different ways in which you can take forth your career plans when you talk about self-employment. And the third factor, which is of great advantage in self-employment, is the flexibility factor. There are no fixed timings involved here. There's no straight jacket in which you need to be operating, and so the atmosphere is such that there's a lot of flexibility involved, since you're own boss and it is your own organization and you run and manage that place. So you can mold things as per your need, as per your attitude and behavior. And of course, another factor which is of great importance is the fact that you can even control the expenses which are involved here. So expenses, supposing like the commuting factor and the wardrobe, since you're working for yourself, there is no pressure on you to dress up and to be in the office. It is your office and you are there. So there are a number of ways in which you can manage expenses and control them in a big way and reduce your overhead costs, so that makes your business even more viable and profitable. So these are some of the benefits which are attached to your being self-employed. So let us now look at the other aspect. We've talked about the options, we've talked about the benefits associated with self-employment. Now let us have a look at the challenges of self-employment. So the first factor which would govern your being self-employed is that you need to develop your self-confidence. Self-belief is so important before you take up this challenge called self-employment, because till the time that you do not believe in yourself, believe in your ability to deliver, believe in the ability that you will be able to manage yourself and the resources that you are supposed to garner, and so the deliverance would not happen. So self confidence is one thing that you must possess in case you wish to take up the responsibility and the challenge of self employment. So that goes number one. So number two factor that you have to remember is there are certain taxes also involved. Even in self-employment, there are certain responsibilities that you need to fulfill for the government. And so whatever be the procedures and the tax requirements and the legal requirements, you have to keep in mind, and you yourself are responsible. Had you been working for any institution or any organization, then all of that headache is not yours. But as a manager here, as a owner in a self-employment business, or even when you are freelancing, you have to look at every aspect of the business, including the taxation, accounting. All of that is your responsibility. So that again can be a challenge for you. uh, Again, the risk factor goes up when you are self-employed, because you have to search for work yourself, since you are there in the market on the basis of your skill, your talent, or your ability to manage resources. Then you definitely run a risk. So the risk factor goes up when you are self-employed, which is very different from when you are employed somewhere, because the entire risks are being taken by the institution as an entity. But here, you as an individual are responsible for every action that you do or not do. So the risk factor definitely goes up. And of course, the self approach has to be there. You have to be a very motivated individual. You have to be self driven. So all the efforts have to move from you. So the opportunities will be there, they are there, but you as an entrepreneur, as a self-employed individual, will constantly need to be in that position, in that space, to take advantage of different opportunities that come your way, or even the fact that you will need to create certain opportunities when they are not coming your way. So those were the different challenges that you just might face as an self-employed individual. Of course, they are not meant to discourage you in any way. They are just meant to make you aware and make you wary, so that you are ready and prepared mentally to deal with such situations. And you never know, situations do tend to crop up even when you least expect them to be. So this question is often asked: which is better? Is self-employment better, or the fact that you take up employment with any organization, or you work for any other institution? So this question will always remain. So I will delve on the fact that what are the benefits of self-employment, and I will also delve on the factor that what are the benefits of working for somebody else, some other institutions. Both of these factors we will present to you, and you yourself as a qualified individual will decide what suits you, what suits your capacity, and what suits your need. So the first slide says it is much better than being on your own. So this slide is favoring your association with an organization, with an institution where you are working as an employee. So the advantage of being an employee is that everything is taken care of. You simply have to do the work assigned to you. So your responsibility is limited to the scope of work that is assigned to you. And of course, the rest of the responsibilities of the organization, of that institution that you work for. So there is definitely a huge element of job security, and of course there is satisfaction, because you know what you have to do. The work waits you on a daily basis. It provides you with different challenges which you are ready and willing to take over. So there's a definite setup in which you operate. That is the number one advantage that you have when you're associated with any institution or organization. So in self-employment, it's hard to progress, and you're only as good as your last job. So this slide also attacks the self-employed individual, because the challenge of being self-employed is that you are as good as your last work, because every time that you go into an assignment or you do a specific task, you are as good as the task that you have just accomplished. So every time you have to prove yourself. So that is one major challenge that being self-employed offers to you. So when you are associated with a company, the company grows, the organization grows, and you also grow. But when you are self-employed, you're constantly, only when you grow, when you make that effort, only then you make a progress. So that is the comparison between the two, which puts things in perspective for you to decide. But again, these are not meant to in any way discourage you, because there are individuals, there are talented individuals, there are self-employed entrepreneurs who have done wonders with their skills, with their managerial skills, and they have used the opportunities to the best of their advantage, and they have far overgrown any of these concerns which are mentioned here. So this slide, of course, focuses on giving you the advantage of being why you should actually self-employ yourself. So working for yourself provides more job security. So in reverse, this slide says that it provides you with more job security than working as an employee in someone else's business, because there is less risk. You're more in control. Since you are the boss there, you're more in control, and there are rewards which are far greater as compared to when you are working as an employee, because your salary, your bonuses are limited to the kind of work that you do, or which has been guaranteed to you under that job arrangement. But here the rewards can be unlimited, and they all depend upon the kind of projects that you are able to take up, the kind of assignments that you are able to generate as a freelancer or as a entrepreneur. And of course, the other major advantage of this is that you work for yourself. So all the decisions are yours. You are the decision makers, you are the head, you are the boss. You are not answerable to anybody except for yourself. That again is a major satisfaction and gratification which self-employment provides. Plus, you diversify your income, so your earnings don't originate from a single source. So you as an individual who has taken to self-employment, you can generate incomes from different sources, and of course that is one way of mitigating your risk and enhancing your profits and your rewards. So that is what self-employment can provide, where you can have different sources to your income, and of course that helps you to progress as a self-employed individual. So these are the benefits which go in favor of being self-employed. And so we have actually covered what exactly is self-employment, different options available to you, and of course the challenges and the benefits which are associated with self-employment. So we really hope that this helps you in arriving at a decision in case you are at a crossroad as to which career path that you should opt for. So I hope today's discussion, today's presentation helps you in deciding that. And of course, once your mind is made, you keep in mind the different challenges which might face you, and in the chosen option that you opt for. So we wish you all the best and hope you take full advantage of today's presentation. Thank you so much.